Okay, bar chords. So this is probably one of the most feared things by beginner guitarists. So let me explain what they are first if you haven't heard of them before. So the chords that I showed you, these are called open chords because they utilise the open strings within the chord. Now what bar chords allow us to do is move these shapes around by using our index finger to fret all 6 strings at once. So our index finger basically acts like the nut down here, so then we can move those shapes all the way across the fretboard. So let's start with an E chord. So what you want to do first is switch around these fingers so that you have your index finger free. So what you want to do is have your ring finger on the 2nd fret of the A string, your pinky on the 2nd fret of the D string, and your middle finger on the 1st fret of the G string. So now what we can do, we can move this shape around, and when we do move it around, we'll put the index finger 1 fret behind wherever the middle finger is. So say for example we move this up 1 fret, now we can have our index finger which will bar the 1st fret, allowing us to move the chord. Now that we have this chord, we can move that anywhere. I started this off by saying that bar chords are one of the most feared things by beginner guitarists, and the reason is that they're not very easy to do when you first try them. So you might be struggling to even get any clean notes out of the bar. And the reason is the muscle that's responsible for the pinching of the bar is this muscle in your hand here. Now, there's practically nothing that you do in your day-to-day life that uses this muscle. So it's never actually been used in that sort of way before. So that's why most people will really struggle to even get any of those clean notes. Most beginner guitarists will just give up on bar chords and won't do them because they can't do them. And this is the exact opposite of what you want to do. So even if you can't get the notes yet, and it sounds something like this, you still want to do them like that because just the fact that you're trying is still going to use that muscle and get it a little bit stronger for the next time that you try it. So when you're first starting out, expect them to be pretty bad. And then the next time they might be slightly less bad, and then you might start getting them, and then you might start getting them half of the time that you're trying, and so on until you get them. So you've got to just kind of hold through this rough patch of just building up that strength and just keep going because they will come. It's all just about building the strength in that muscle. So let's talk about the proper technique and setup. So first off, make sure that your index finger is nice and straight, and your thumb is going to be in the middle of the neck, right behind your index finger. Now, due to the way that your hands work, you're at your strongest point at the tip of your finger. So when you're pressing the bar, you want to imagine if you have your index finger like this and put your other finger against this joint, the first joint of your finger, and then try and push it away, that's the exact pressure that you want to think about when you're putting down your bar. There's 2 common problems that people come across when they're trying to do bar chords. The first one is the same concept as the fretting hand finger position, making sure that you're as close as you can be to that side of the fret. So it's the same thing for the bars, and what a lot of people tend to do is angle their bar this way, which makes it a lot harder to fret it at this end of the bar, which is actually your weakest bit of your finger. So you want to make sure that you think about bringing your elbow a little bit closer to your body, making sure the bar is perfectly in line with the fret, as close as you can be to that side of the fret. Otherwise, you're almost guaranteed to get those buzzy notes. Another common problem is people tend to have their fretting hand wrist a little bit too high. So you want to drop it a little bit lower than your normal playing position because it makes it a little bit easier to straighten that index finger. Otherwise, your index finger kind of wants to bend, making it harder to put that bar down. Again, your bar chords are more than likely going to sound a bit bad at the beginning, but as long as you make sure you've got that correct setup and you're using the right technique, then just keep trying and just keep doing everything you can, and eventually they will start getting better. I'm going to show you some examples of some bar chords and what their names are. So let's start off.